Okay, so for some reason Oracle crashed on me. Hopefully it won't crash on you when you're actually using it. But anyway, um, part two here of the video is we're actually going to go through and do some queries in Oracle here. So this will be fun. So anyway, yeah, it crashed on me, so I've got to re-enter my password here. So just give me just 1 second to do that. All right, and it starts out kind of shrunken up, but just like we said last time, we're going to make it a little bit bigger so we can go in and do what we need to do. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is kind of do the show tables command like we did last week. Well, that's in MySQL. Oracle doesn't have the show tables command. So what do we do to be able to see our tables? Well, we have to select uh, all the rows from the table that stores all the tables. That's kind of a crazy way to do it, but that's how Oracle is. So we'll say select table name. That's the actual field from that table of tables from all tables where owner equals Clay. And we always put a semicolon at the end of it. So select the table name column from the table called all tables where the owner is me. Alright, let's see if I already have any tables out there right now. So we're going to highlight it and click on the execute button just like we did last time. Alright, so there's nothing in the database ORCL that we're using right now, our default database. I don't have any tables in there. Alright, so let's make a table. That'll be the first thing that we want to do, is create a table. Alright, so the table that I'm going to create is called example clay. When you create your table, you're going to want to call it example GP Barton or example, whatever your Bama username is. Now, why do we want to call our tables different names? Why can't we do like last week where we were in MySQL and we had our own database and we could all call our tables the same name? But we can't do that here, right? Because remember, Oracle is big, hefty, and kind of robust, so we only have one database to work with. Since we only have one database to work with, whenever we create tables, we have to give them unique names. We can't have tables that have the same name or it'll get all messed up. So the table that I make has to be different from the table that you make. I just want to make sure you understand that. So we'll say create table. That's pretty similar to last week with MySQL. And again, I'm going to call my table example clay. Okay? That's what I'm going to call mine. You might want to call yours example GP Barton or example whatever your Bama username is. Okay? So I'll hit return. It puts a lot of squigglies in there, but don't worry. We're going to put information in there so it won't give you so many squigglies. The first thing I'm going to put in is an ID to reference a unique row for each of my data elements. It's going to be a number. It's not null. Okay, don't want any nulls in there because that would make the ID field kind of crazy. Next thing I'm going to do is put in something called name. It'll be varchar2. Notice last week it was called varchar. This week it's called varchar2. That's because Oracle has a different table column definition or field type definition than MySQL does. I'm going to make it a length of 30. Okay, 30 characters. Next one I'm going to put in is, guess what? Age. We did age last week as well. Age is going to be a decimal. Okay. I'm going to make my age a decimal. I'm going to make it an overall length of 6 characters. That's what this first digit is. The second digit is telling it that it's going to have 2 places after the decimal. So it's going to be a full 6 characters in length, and 2 of it is going to be after the decimal. So what does that mean? It means it's going to have 4 characters before the decimal. So you just do a little math and you can come up with that number. All right, the next thing is weird Oracle speak, okay? We did not have to do any of this stuff in MySQL. This is new, okay? This is new weird Oracle stuff. So just so you know that. We have to tell it what kind of constraints there are and where to locate this stuff with table spaces. Basically, the gist with table spaces is that Oracle has different file groups, and those file groups uh, constitute what's called a table space. Okay, table spaces are basically just kind of a bucket where you can group things together. All right, so we're going to be in a specific table space for this class that I've set up just for y'all. Just so you know. All right, so constraint, if I could spell, constraint example PK primary key ID using index table space users. All right, and then we'll go ahead and stop that. So we had an open parentheses up here, and we've got a closed parentheses down here. Below that, I'm going to put in table space example. Okay, there is actually a table space called example, and there is a table space called users. We're putting our index in the table space called users, and we're putting our over the table space for our table is going in the table space called example. Okay, just know that Oracle is really particular about how you do things. You have to do things a certain way, all right, or it will get mad at you. So to go a little bit further, okay, instead of just calling this constraint example PK for our primary key, meaning I want this ID here to be my primary key. I want it to be unique, and I want it to be the key for this table, okay? Instead of just calling it example PK, let's call it example clay PK. Just keep all of our nomenclature the same, okay? I'm just going to move this over so that we can see all that we're doing, okay? So this first thing was my select command that showed me all the tables that I own. Of course, I don't own any tables yet. That's why I wanted to go in and create this table. Create table example clay. Got my open parentheses right there. ID, which is a number and it's not null, comma, name, space, varchar2, open parentheses 30, close parentheses, comma, age, space, decimal, open parentheses 6, comma 2, close parentheses, comma, constraint, example underscore PK, which is my primary key ID, using index table space called users, close parentheses, table space, example, semicolon. Okay? All right, let's see if we got that right. That's a lot of verbiage, right? It's a lot of text. It's a whole lot simpler in MySQL to do what we're doing here in Oracle. The reason I'm making you suffer through this Oracle lab is to show you, yes, you can use Oracle as your database engine, but you have to know how to speak Oracle, and it's slightly different. We're going to click on the execute command. All right, it ran it, okay? Now, whenever you're doing something in Oracle, the other thing that you have to remember is that things are only done in your session. When you log out, it can disappear, okay? The reason for that is Oracle has all these. Remember me saying it's more robust? Well, one of the things that makes it robust is that you can roll back things that you don't like, okay? I'm not going to illustrate the rollback command, okay, because that's a little advanced, but just know that it's there. And just know that after you do a command, it goes, but it's actually done in kind of a limbo land. Well, in order to make it actually go to the database, we want to always click this little button up here. This button, it looks like a red downward arrow pointing to what I would call two coins. One of them is blue, like a greenish blue that's light colored in the middle, and the other one is greenish blue and it's dark colored in the middle. So this is your commit command. So let me come down here and I'll go back up so you can see it called a commit. Okay, so you'll press the commit button. You won't see anything that happened, but what it actually did was it actually permanently wrote that to the database. Now, if you wanted to, you could click on the rollback button and it would undo that, but let's not worry about rollbacks at this time. We're just going to assume that what we did was good and we're going to commit that, okay? Rollback is kind of like an undo feature for Oracle, but if you do mess up, there's ways we can go through and not have to use rollback, okay?